Happy podcast day, Fat Paladin.
Hello, Somicron. Happy podcast day to you as well.
Yes.
Quite a wonderful podcast day, I would say.
Yeah, it's not too bad today. It's a little overcast. It's been like raining on and off the last couple days.
Well, how do you feel about rain?
It gets in the way of me wanting to go for a bike ride.
Certainly true. Bummer.
Yeah. But other than that, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been beautifully sunny and kind of warm the last couple days.
Oh?
Got up to 60 degrees Fahrenheit and the
Oh, that's
sun was
lovely.
out, not a cloud in the sky. It was gorgeous. Yeah. So more of this, I would
Jealous.
say. If we could just do this and not get to the like 99-degree weather that's coming soon, I'd appreciate it.
I mean, I don't think there's any way to put that off.
Moving to Antarctica
You could do that, I suppose.
totally puts it off.
That seems like an extreme reaction. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Parts of Canada then? Like there are parts of
Yeah.
Canada where it never gets to 99 degrees, right?
Right.
Yeah. You just have, I mean, it's just that, I don't know. To get that far north in Canada, I think you have to basically live in Nowheresville is the problem.
Right.
Can't really live in a city of any kind. I'm sure there are towns up there, but like I don't know. I don't want to live in a small town.
No.
Where will I see movies?
At home. Have a home theater. Literally
Oh, I
your
bet
own.
their internet sucks too.
Well, Starlink and stuff like that's gonna be doing okay for them.
I guess it's a good point. Starlink's still okay? Probably. I haven't heard anybody talking about it failing.
I do not know, to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Anywho.
Yeah, there's been some StarCraft happening. There's been some Horus Heresy happening. Been a
Yeah.
busy week.
A little bit of a busy week. Not really.
True.
I think the most interesting thing in StarCraft at the moment is the Team Liquid top 10 that came out for greatest players of all time.
I did see your post about that.
Yeah, which famously does not have Dark on it and puts Cyril at number 2. So that seems wild.
Yeah. I mean, I needed to know who put this together and what their criteria was because yeah, that thing was it a tweet you posted? I think it was a
Yeah,
tweet.
that was I think an Upper Tree Zelda parody like meme on the tweet.
Yeah.
I don't know who did the actual list.
Right.
Meisenhower, it says here, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly or who that is.
Okay. Do they have a page on the Wikipedia? Can we look and see anything about this person, or is it just like random Team Liquid user makes top 10 internet StarCraft internet goes nuts?
That's an excellent point.
Because like I don't know if I should care if this is just someone, you know.
I don't know.
Okay, great. Good stuff. I mean, yeah. I mean, it just really, to me, looks like some dude. He's like, I like StarCraft 2. Here's my list. And then everybody's like, bruh.
Here's,
I'm like,
I
I
mean,
don't know if we should mind. Like, go for it,
but here's
man. You make your own list.
the Team Liquid Net Twitter account also like posted it though. I mean, like here's here's a post you guys should care about.
Sure.
Why? What doesn't do that for everyone? Does it?
Well, no, probably not. But I mean, I was just browsing it now. I mean, this person comes up with criteria, discusses the difference between a longer great career versus a great peak, weighing tournaments. Like, there's a lot of little, bits of information that is being weighed carefully. They're discussing how to weigh them exactly. So, I mean, there's a lot of work that went into this post. So I appreciate the effort, and I
For
can
sure.
see the head honchos at Team Liquid being like, this is a well thought out, well reasoned post that will get people to freak out and come to our site.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Text.
all.
Hold on. Text by TL.net Esports. I think it's an official post then. It's being written by
What?
this Meisenhower guy, but it does say greatest players of all time intro text by TL.net Esports. So this is
What does that mean?
that means this is Team Liquid's top 10 greatest StarCraft 2 players of all time. It's their list.
You can't leave Dark off then.
You can't put
Like,
Cyril
don't just.
second.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about Cyril being second. I'm way more concerned about Dark not being involved at all. Way more concerned.
Nah, all the way around.
Really?
Dark should definitely be on there, right?
There's a major argument for Morrow being number one. There's no argument for Dark not being in the top 10.
I don't think there's much of an argument for Maru being number one. There's some, but I think the argument for Cyril's way better.
Some. Right. I'm just saying, some argument for this, no argument for this. Therefore, bigger problem that one of these things is happening.
But it's much more important who's number one than who's on the list in its entirety.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so. In a list like that. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Cyril should be number one. It's really funny because, yeah, that Up-a-Tree Zelda thing's like, hold on a second. Let's back up and look at the list of accolades that Cyril has.
That
they extend into eternity.
Right, that were explicitly left off, the actual list as well.
Yeah. So, it's weird. There's a weird agenda.
Yeah.
Team Liquid's like, foreigners. We'd leave Cyril off entirely if we could. If we could get away with it. Just foreigner bias is all it is.
Yeah.
No, not so much. And, oh, look at you. Random battling.
Getting text messages.
Now the Final Fantasy VII battle theme is in my head.
that is not the Final Fantasy VII battle theme, but, it should be in your head. That is the Solid Snake alert from Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. That's true. It's similar? I swear it's similar to, like, open world random battle Final Fantasy VII. Like, you stumbled across some frogs. Whop! And then it goes do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Sure. Except Metal Gear Solid's, it's a singular alert. Like, meh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't lead into battle music. I understand that.
Yeah.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
no, it's
getting
highly
text.
important.
It's cool. Yeah. So anyways, whatever, Team Liquid. I'm not even gonna engage with this.
No.
Nope.
Fair enough. So what else do we have? There's what is it? It's GSL?
Yes. They did some more groups. So it's funny, in Group B, everybody's like, Protoss is back. And in Group C, it's like, Protoss is not back. In fairness, the Protosses were not Stats and Classic. The Protosses were Nightmare and Creator. So it's like, fair.
Yeah. These are the Protosses that never went anywhere and did not leave and are still not back. So that's fine.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beyond and Gumiho are making it through.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Not that surprising.
No.
I think both Beyond and Gumiho are ranked higher on Aligia like the Nightmare and Creator are.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a shellacking. There was one win. Nightmare got a map off of Gumiho, and the rest of the time it was tearing over Protoss.
Yikes.
Yeah. Super bad. Mm-hmm. So, Stats and Classic, you got this. We'll see how Hero does in Group D.
Not looking good for him, though.
It's a tough group. Yeah.
Tough group, yeah.
Pretty tough.
I mean, it's a tough group for pretty much anyone, but it seems pretty well for the people in it, though.
Seems pretty what?
Well balanced. I don't know.
Oh,
it's not full of like Darks and Marus and Cyrils, Raynors, Clems.
I mean, yeah, but like none of the last three players live in Korea, so not a problem.
Raynor's going there, but you know what I mean.
I did see that post. I did see that Raynor wants to go do GSL again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down.
He's also mad he's not on the top 10 players list. He's like, if I've got to win a GSL to be there, I'll just hold my beer.
Good. Light a fire under you. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see Raynor and Clem and Cyril consistently compete in this thing.
I mean, yeah,
Just
that'd be
ups the level of
neat.
competition.
It'd be neat,
Yeah.
but like, GSL's not what it used to be. We all know it.
That's true. But Stats is back. Maru's here. Come on. Sue's in the house. Sue is on the top 10 list.
Maru's
He's a
gonna
world champion.
Maru's gonna retire tomorrow. Just you watch. You've called it. You jinxed it now. He's gonna be like, I'm after this tournament. I'm done. I'm gonna go get my bus driver's license and do something else.
He's like, I'm already the best StarCraft 2 player of all time. What do I have left to prove?
Right. That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's a bummer. Don't do that, Maru. We love you. Stick around.
There's more
So
prize
the
money
group right
elsewhere.
now, the group stage 2 that Maru's in is Classic and Beyond with a TBD for that 4th spot. Yeah, man, a Maru Beyond TBT would be fun. I'll watch that.
I could watch that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Not much else to talk about there, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
No. But
No.
good luck to the participants.
Cyril, from April 15th, I think it was, is going to do his military service as well.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to like the defense school for sports or something. So he's able to play and practice during his mandatory military service, and he still gets to compete in some things. But he's gonna try for like a dream hack and the world tournament. But yeah, other than that,
So it just sounds like he'll have a little bit less availability, but he'll still be around.
yeah,
That's cool.
there'll be a chance for someone else to win surprise money in Europe.
Yeah. Well, except Clem and Raynor are there. Like,
Oh, Reno's not won anything this year.
well, it's because Cyril's been around.
That's my point.
Oh, you mean Raynor? You didn't mean someone. You meant Raynor is going to have a chance to win some money.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I was thinking that second tier of players.
Oh, no. They're still going to give us Raynor and Clem. God.
That's fantastic. All right, cool. StarCraft is over.
Yes.
On to the Warhammers.
Warhammer. Woo! Who doesn't like Warhammer?
A lot of people. So, it's the book Nemesis, which is yet another book that does a good job being like, okay, I know that Warhammer is a lot about Space Marines and Primarchs and immortal beings, but there's also a lot of regular folk in the world too.
Yeah.
And some people in between regular folk and Primarchs and Space Marines.
Other
Let's
branches
explore
of
some
the
of that.
military. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, military / CIA.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. So this is Nemesis by James Swallow. It apparently made it to the New York Times bestseller list, which, neat.
That's what the Warhammer wiki says, but again, there's no real sourcing for this.
Right. And yeah, it's a very small novel in terms of Imperial persons listed here. Although I am looking at it and this doesn't seem to actually have everyone in the book, so I'm a little annoyed.
Oh, the list of Dramatis Personae.
Yeah, because it's got like the assassins and it's got the
Yeah.
custodies and the primarchs and the space marines, but it doesn't actually have Yosef, the cop and like his buddy on the planet.
Yeah, and he's a big character.
He's
No,
a
wait.
big.
He's right here.
Where?
He's under Imperial Personae.
Imperial Personae.
Goes Malkador, Catatelemac, Bertz Lamanier, and then Yosef Sabrat. And
I don't see that on mine.
You don't
It just
have it?
it just has Malkador and then Merrick's son Uritas.
What the heck? There are different versions of this book. Yeah, it lists Yosef here, Dag here, Erno Sig is listed. The Eurotas guy, the Void Baron.
That's not.
Hysos is here. It doesn't list Eurotas or Hysos?
No. I'm just on the wiki. Are you on the wiki, or you're like in
No,
the
I'm in the
book?
book.
Well,
I'm
I'm
in the
not on the.
book.
I don't have it. Like, I can't pull up the audiobook and get the
Oh, right.
stuff.
Right. So I don't know. They just decided to leave some people off the wiki page. There are a lot of people. So when you're like, the list is shorter, I'm like,
Turns out if you leave off all the regular humans, it's much shorter. Yeah. Let me see if I
yeah.
can find another list.
That's funny. That's really funny. The wiki's like, Yosa's not important. Yosa's so important. He's great.
No, I don't want the. What is it? Christie novel? Who's Christie? Agatha. Oh, there's an Agatha Christie novel called Nemesis.
I told you there are like 20,000 books named Nemesis. Really popular title. They honestly, they need to work on having less used titles out there, man.
I suppose.
Legion. Ridiculous.
This wiki doesn't even have a character list. God damn it.
Excellent.
All right, never mind. You're gonna have to be my point of contact for the human characters.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so effectively, the whole conceit of this book starts off with there's the CIA of the Imperium. They're a secret clandestine organization who meets in secret. Nobody knows they're there except for like the Emperor. And they wear masks, so they don't even know who the other people are. And they each have their different branches of assassination and intrigue and spy stuff that they're doing.
Clades, as they're called, and
Clades, yeah.
but by 40k, they each, like, I think at the moment the word temple is a little bit taboo for them, but they all run their own kind of assassin temple, and like they breed specific kinds of assassins for specific use cases.
Right.
Yeah.
And so effectively, they decide that they have come up with the goal to assassinate Horus in the midst of his heresy.
Right, because we're 2 years into this, which in our reading order feels like a big jump, because it's been like, here's Istvan 3, here's Istvan 5, here's the word bearers then going to Kalth, and now it's 2 years later.
Yeah, we go from Kalth to 2 years later, and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so the book's like all these planets have decided to align with Horus or been conquered by Horus, either one. They talk about this towards the end of the book. It's like, look, we can't really blame any planets for being like bending the knee to Horus because a Primarch shows up in your face and says, bow to me.
Right.
You're probably going to do it. Like, who's brave enough to say no, honestly?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because there definitely are planets that say no, but we've seen what happens when the Legion thinks that they're saying no.
Yeah.
Or aren't bending the knee. And it's a lot of like slaughtering a city, you know?
Yes.
And
a lot of innocents die. Right.
Yeah.
And they make that point towards the end of the book too. They're like, they have the capability of turning the planet into slag, into molten lava and uninhabitable, but they also have the capability just to kind of make it so all the people are dead. And like the planet's inhabitable for things they want to do with it later.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it's there's a dial that they can set it. They can go to like 11 or they can set it to 7, right?
I think 7 is just the deployment of Astartes, you know? And then it's like, all right, we'll just go to the ground and, you know, our shock assault troops will just kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then orbital bombardment's probably closer to 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Exterminatus, which is turning the planet to slag and a barren dead rock.
And that's 11.
Yeah.
What?
Which, I mean, so they get this plan to assassinate Horus. That's the A story, I suppose. The B-side story is Erebus, because you needed more reasons to dislike Erebus, has a plan to assassinate the Emperor in return.
Yeah, which is fun, because you start out the book and you're like, okay, these guys want to assassinate Horus. Obviously, they don't assassinate Horus. So part of you is like, but then they introduce this character that's like, wait, what's this character doing? Wait, what are they? This character wants to assassinate the Emperor. That's way more interesting. But at the same time, you also know they don't succeed in assassinating the Emperor. So there are some problems here.
There are some problems. It's 2 Titanic stories, both just meaning like, you know how
doomed.
it is.
Yeah, 100% doomed.
But you don't initially know what this Spear is about. Spear is the name of the assassin for the Emperor, who just seems to be killing people on this planet.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like having fun, doing some chaosy ritually type stuff with the bodies.
Has the ability to impersonate people that he kills too, which is fun.
Yeah, so he has like a way of eating people and storing parts of them and then like consuming their mind as well, so that like when he impersonates them, it's not like he has to pretend to be that person. He just like lets their residual consciousness take over and
Mm-hmm.
is them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it
What?
takes concentration because there are times when there's stress on Spirit and like it slips. But yeah, it's pretty smooth. I mean, he fools a bunch of people,
He fools tons of people. Yeah.
impersonating important folk.
Like you don't find it out till later. So there's like, I would say like a third of the book where this person Yusuf is like, I'm a cop doing cop things, investigating murders. It's really
Yeah,
brutal. Here I am. My wife misses me, but she's doing her best, and I'm trying not to bring my work home. And I've got a
yeah,
son, and I'm helping people getting beat on the streets. Like I'm a good cop. And then like he gets dragged into this investigation where he has to work for basically a rogue trader who's like, your planet, like I own your planet, and these murders here are bad for business. Please clear it up.
mm-hmm.
I'm sending one of my security personnel like to help you investigate. And so,
Hysos or
uh,
Hysos.
Hysos,
How
yeah,
do they pronounce it? Hysos? Okay.
Hysos. I think it was Hysos, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to really know this character as a person, and then it's like, oh, and his face opens up and he tries to eat Hysos. It's like, what the hell? And then you have this like retroactively backfill where it's like, yeah, so Spear has been this guy for like months now, and it's all been like a stepping stone plan to get to the Void Baron. And it's like, oh my god, all that stuff. Like the killer was in the room the entire time. It's a nice little midway reveal. I really like that bit.
It really is. I mean, yeah, for a Horus Heresy book, it basically starts out as there's a serial killer in town, which is not like the smallest scale ever, but compared to a lot of this stuff in Warhammer, it's pretty darn tiny on the scale of what's usually going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And yeah, they're finding bodies that are dissected and vivisected and displayed in ornate ways, and there's all this symbology going on, and they're like, so this isn't normal for us.
A little above our pay grade.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like the look that you have at civilian life and like the relationship between local police and the upbeaties, because it's not really shown and it's much more of a thing in 40k. But the
Mm,
upbeaties are not from that planet. They are not local cops. They are
right.
only concerned with federal police matters, like imperial law, not local law. So they have this like brutal series of murders and like desecrations going on, and like even like the chief of police is like, we don't want to have to push this along to the feds if we don't have to, because they'll probably be more indiscriminate with their justice than we will. Like this is a local matter, we can handle it locally. Let's not get them involved if we don't have to.
Mm.
And it's a kind of unwillingness to go for help, but also like they kind of want to cover their own, because if they seem to be incompetent, they'll get replaced, right?
Right.
Yeah, and like especially since it's shown that the chief is also ambitious, like wants to move up to planetary defense commander or something, but can't do that until the current guy in it either dies or gets promoted to planetary governor or something.
Right.
It's it's a big
Politics. Hooray.
politics, yeah. Yeah, so I mean it's a really interesting life in like look at civilian life is all. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Certainly. It's very fun. And then when it becomes clear that none of these regular people have any ability to withstand the horror that is Spear, you're like, oh,
Oh, oh.
all right. Well, it's nice to know you people. You're all very dead. Oh man. So then the other part of the story is this group of assassins that come together Ocean's 11 style to try to assassinate Horus.
Right.
Each of the clades send like maybe not their best talent, but like top tier.
They definitely
talent.
say like this person was like a major investment. This is the best of our
Yeah,
clade. Well, they have a lot of
not
like
always.
they have a lot of like we tried sending the best of our clade and they died. What a waste! And so
Right.
you assume that these people are maybe the second best, but
Yeah, right.
yeah.
There's a bunch of attempts they've made where they try to send one assassin at a time to take down Horus. And they give us a little bit of that at the start of the book, where a poisoner assassin has worked for like months and years to get to this point close to Horus and like basically be his cupbearer and like pour the drinks. But then Erebus can read minds and it's like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of his life, he realizes that he was never actually close at all. And there's
No.
some freaky magic going on that he didn't anticipate. Oh no.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Which is an amazing moment. It's like, dude, come on. Like they just don't know about Erebus. Like nobody in the Imperium's like, there's a witch on Horus's side. We can't send regular dudes here. Yeah, whatever.
That's kind of the problem because it's like you can't know that this person's next to Horus at all times, right? Like it's just one of those things the assassins have to like take a chance on.
Yeah, and they do, and it goes poorly for a long time with many attempts. So yeah, so their
Right.
Ocean's 11 group is like maybe third best in each clade, maybe less, who knows.
Maybe. They do say that they have tried sending out multiple assassins, but all from the same clade before.
Oh,
So
okay.
like there'll be times where like two Vindicaries have gone out to try and kill a target. They don't necessarily say Horus, but like there have been targets before that are like, we need more than one operative. But this is the first time that they've sent people, a team of people from every clade, which is the important bit here.
Yeah. Yep. It's fun. So they've got a sniper, a Street A Kel.
Yeah. Yep. The
His spoiler alert sister, a strange sister,
Jenica Solam.
and she's a poisoner.
Yeah. Clade Venenum. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
the
then they
ga-
pick up the Guarantine in an absolutely rousing set piece. Holy smokes.
I absolutely love when they're going to get the guarantee, and they're like, the facility's on fire. What's going on? And they're like, oh shit, they woke him.
Yeah. So
It's
the Guarantine represents
I never saw.
steroids.
Steroids is one way to put it. Yeah.
He's just like a physical killing machine with insane amounts of stamina, weapon skill, and like just sheer brute force.
Yeah. He has.
He's Well, he's just basically a space marine without having the same level of enhanced physiology as a space marine.
Right. He's kind of there on, but he's hopped up on stimulants, and he's like not
Yeah,
as well armored. Um.
correct. And he, I
So
don't see, he doesn't seem to like it either. He kind of likes running out there, just like whatevs. But I don't know.
yeah, he kind of like runs out there and does like acrobatically kill people with like his sticking his finger blades into people's eyes and ripping their faces off and stuff.
Right.
He's an up close and killer, personal kind of killer. And I mean, spoilers, I guess, for later. But my favorite thing about the Eversaw is just like when the chemicals detect like the heart rate dropping or whatever. They're just like, okay, let's flood enough chemicals into this person to turn them into like living C4, and just
Yeah.
they're also suicide bombers on top of everything.
I mean, fair enough.
Why not?
I mean, they keep these dudes in stasis until they need them. Like all they do is sleep, and then when they're needed, they're popped out of stasis, given a mission, go kill 40,000 people, and go back to sleep. That's all that they know.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
There is a really interesting couple of paragraphs where it's from the Guarantee's perspective, and he's talking about how he doesn't understand this concept of like past and future and today. There's only the now, and it like, and now I jump over this wall, slice two guys with my finger blades, pick up a fallen stub gun, and club someone to death with it. It only takes 2 hits before the weapon breaks, but then I'm moving already. It's like his entire stream of consciousness is all he has.
Yep.
And it really sets up like just how much of a struggle it is for him to not just kill everything everywhere he goes, which
Yeah.
is something he has to kind of do a little bit.
Right. And when we meet him, what's happened is he's being transported in stasis somewhere, and they like.
Getting ready for pickup by the execution force.
That's right, and they
Yeah.
drop him or something, and
Something happens, and the cryo tubing that is pumping cryo goo into his casket, it breaks, and like they made the decision to try and fix the cooling rather than making sure he was in firm stasis, because if they didn't fix the cooling, it could have awoken the 9 other Eversaws they had in stasis.
they're like, it's easier for people to deal with one of these than 10.
Right.
We're all dead, but we're gonna try to make this as like not horrible as possible to the people that come after us.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that it's a amazing decision for sure.
Uh,
Ugh.
and yeah, he basically slaughters his way out of his own facility, not really getting that there's enemies, but that's all he knows. So
Yeah, and oh, that's the other thing. When we first meet him, he's like, I don't have a goal. There's no mission. I haven't been told what I'm supposed to do, but my default setting is murder. Like
right.
he the yeah, there are no instructions for him that involve and kill anybody who gets in the way. That's just unsaid. That's just the default state of things.
Right.
What he needs is the mission, and it
Yeah.
bothers him. Right? He's out there slaughtering all these people, and he's like, I don't really have anything I'm supposed to be working towards exactly.
But
Oh well.
oh well, this is still good for now. I'll figure that out later.
And then later Kel has the conversation like, look, dude, like you don't have a mission. Like I'm here to give you one, you idiot. Like calm down and stop murdering everything.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, then there's Teriel, who's an infosite.
Clade Vanis, which I think is actually new for this book. Like, this was the introduction of Vanis, and I think Venenum as well. Mainly because they're not combat assassins, like they're poisoners
Right.
and information people. So it kind of makes sense that, like, for a war game, that they wouldn't have models really.
They're guy in the chair. They're
Guy in the
100%
chair.
guy in the chair. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Tariel really like steps up out of the chair when he's like, I have a bunch of like cyber eagles and rats and stuff that are like can do my bidding. That's really fun.
It is a fun little detail for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just information like personified. He just has trillions and trillions of petabytes of information about everything.
Yeah. They do describe that to a member of Clade Vanis that like seeking out and acquiring new information is a need for them. Like they're very particular about gathering any data that's left just lying unsecured. It's theirs. They don't consider it stealing, but they consider it to be belonging to them inherently.
Yeah, it's legitimate salvage.
Yeah.
And then finally there's Iota, who's she's listed as a protophage in the list.
Yeah, which is a rank from Clade Calexis, which I don't think is actually used anywhere else. As far as I'm aware, there are no other protophages known. But,
Right.
Cool. Way to
Yeah,
go,
she's
rank.
just a psyker, right?
Sort of.
A little bit beyond just a normal psyker.
So, Calexis assassins are pariahs. They're blanks.
Right. Oh,
means-
that's right. That's what they call her, pariah.
Yeah, so they're psychically nulls, which means you can't psycho them to death. And they have like a piece of equipment called what's it called? The Animus Speculum, which allows them to absorb psychic energy and then flip the polarity and release it again as boosted negative psychic attacks.
Right.
So
if someone tries to hit her with a psychic attack, she has the ability to mirror reflect it back at them.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that a psychic null, like the Imperium treats nulls basically with the same power scale as regular psychics, but it's all in negative numbers instead of positive.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's a pariah. What else was going on with her?
She doesn't have concept of like relationships or family, which is really sad.
Right, because they like, oh, she was a clone, and she's like that grown as a person.
Yeah.
So she doesn't understand relationships, which is kind of sad. But it's 40k. Like, yeah.
Welcome to 40K.
Welcome to
Everything's
40k.
sad.
Everything's sad. Yeah. I, yeah. So last on the list is Coin,
Who's
Calidus.
shapeshifter?
She is a shapeshifter. Well, is she
Yeah.
the right term? I don't know.
I don't think so. I
No.
think non-binary something.
They're very particular about it not really having a gender at this point. Like, it would have been born with one, but at this point, the polymorphine drug has so totally overcome any default state of biology that, like, there are literally scenes in the book where this person is forming their physical self to be like a doll, just featureless, completely
Yep.
smooth all over, and basically like a marionette, which is creepy as shit.
Everybody around is like, this is creepy as shit. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's some internal monologue too from Coin where they're basically like, I've been so many different people and so many different genders and ages, and there's just no sense of self anymore. There is no me. I am whatever the mission needs. Yeah.
Right, right. I will say in Coin's Ocean 11 style recruitment, she is she is a she at the time and is killing a Legio Cybernetica mech lord, which is like a tech priest, right? But the tech
Yeah.
priest was getting killed because that he helped build the Furious Abyss. So it's another reference to the Battle of Abyss book we're not reading.
Right.
I think it's like the sixth one we've come across. And it's like this ship keeps getting referenced in places, but we're not touching
And
that book.
they keep assuming that the reader knows what it is, and I'm like, I don't. Whatever. The important part is that he was helping Horus build warships.
Right.
So the Imperium's like, this guy needs to go.
Right, but it was also important that like she was like, well, he was helping him build warships, but we couldn't prove it in any way that was substantial, so we're
Yeah.
just gonna kill him with a shape changing assassin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, the internal monologue talks about how she'd been spending weeks like dosing him with pheromones and all sorts of stuff to get him into a position where he is just obsessed with her character.
With her
Which
persona.
did she kill someone and take their place?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
mentions
she
that,
kills
like,
this opera singer,
yeah. Yep.
and they're performing Oedipus.
Oedipus, yes. They're performing Oedipus Neo.
Yeah. Which I love. They keep throwing in like ancient Greek and Roman stuff into Warhammer. It's like even 30,000 years in the future, they're still caring about ancient Greek plays.
Right, it is kind of fun that that's there, but it also just really points out that, like, nothing from our future's stuck around. It's all stuff from, like, the last 2,000 years or whatever.
Ooh, yeah. Dude, that'd be hilarious if they're like, fidget spinners were awesome.
Right, it's like Malkador very famously has like the Mona Lisa in his private chambers somewhere on Terra.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a Banksy, you know? He has a Mona
Right.
Lisa. Like, he has a famous thing from our time. Well, I say our time, but like something that's historically important in our time.
Right.
Nothing modern or, moving forward. It just makes the 30k and 40k eras feel very interested in our history as well, rather than things that would also be ancient history to them, like our future.
Right.
It's not bad. I love it because Warhammer's filled to the brim with historical references in places you wouldn't expect. Like, interestingly, Prospero, the homeworld of the Thousand Sons, is called Prospero because in Shakespeare's The Magician, Prospero is the wizard.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Thousand Sons love them some magic. So
Yeah,
hey.
yeah. And I think in The Magician, there's also like a like deranged or mutated beast or something called Caliban, the home planet of the First Legion, the Dark Angels, is called Caliban, and it's filled with mutated beasts. So references abound everywhere.
Yeah, the writers have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, they've got a
Certainly.
big history fans apparently when they were writing the original lore. But yes, that's the strike team.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Long story short, they go to this planet where they're hoping that Horus will personally involve himself in conquering it.
Dagon.
Because it is one of the first places that Horus conquered as part of the Grand Crusade. He's very beloved there. He's famous.
He famously did it by only firing a single shot into like a tyrant priest king that was
Priest. Yep.
enslaving the entire population basically. So
Right.
they're even a couple centuries later, a super big Horus fans basically.
They say there are many, many Horus statues in the capital city. Not as many as the Emperor
Brr.
has statues, but it's close.
Plus, right.
I thought that was a funny detail.
Let's see.
So our strike team shows up and goes, okay, so Horus is going to come help this planet overthrow the Imperium government and establish, whatever, the Horus Heresy government.
Right.
But then
Well,
they get there and they're like, ah, crap, the Imperium forces, they're like days from collapsing. They're getting beat.
right. Well, that's the interesting thing, right? The I don't think the Horus, like, or the Legion turning up here was like going to establish their own government or anything, or really lay down any law. They were just coming to like note the loyal planet to them, be like, we're gonna raise the flag, but then we're moving on. If the war here is done, we're just going, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Horus had much of a intention of really settling any planets on his way, right? Like, I don't think that's a thing that was happening.
Sure, but I mean, they were hoping that he would make Planetfall and at least like show up and like
Do a
press
ceremony.
flesh and kiss some
Right.
babies, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
But they get there and like the war's over, more or less. We
almost.
have like a resistance fight that's going on, but even they're basically spent, and the resistance force is basically under the impression that like, oh, the traitors here have won. Horus might not even come because it's so firmly secured for him already,
Yep.
and they have the plan to help the resistance rekindle the fire of it's weird to say rebellion, but it's resistance, I think is the right word. Um, and really make this planet a thorn in Horus's side because, like, again, if it's super famously loyal to Horus and Horus is proud of this, like, victory he did with a single bullet, making the planet worth taking is probably going to stand out. Like, if even these people can resist him, why should others not, you know?
Right. It could be a dangerous symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, right. So they basically are like, okay, so we're five assassins. Like all of us have individually basically done this on our own in other ways before. We can do this.
Right.
So they do. They basically help the resistance. And they do. They eventually do convince Horus's forces to park in orbit outside the planet and send down a bunch of Astartes.
Yep.
And then a guy comes down who is clad in the War Master's, what do they
Mantle.
call it?
The mantle.
His mantle. Yeah, the War Master's mantle.
Which I'm not sure what that means. Like, is it his armor? Or is it like.
I mean, historically, the concept of a mantle is just a representation that you are acting
As his
you are acting
proxy?
as the person. Yeah.
Right, which makes sense. Like, it makes sense that he's doing that. But would Horus wear a mantle of himself? Like, would he
I
wear
think
his own?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kel is there with a sniper rifle and he's watching this through his optic zoom, right?
Right.
And he clocks it all. He's like, okay, so this is Horus's mantle is here. Like he's looking for certain things to determine that this is Horus, and everything looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this dude lifts his helmet, and Kel's like, "All right, headshot, let's go!" Bam, blows his head off.
Well, they keep mentioning up until here that like they have a lance of some kind, and I'm in my head I know that like what a lance is. It's a ship weapon, right?
Yep.
But what it actually is here is like, okay, this guy's gonna have a refractor shield or something on him, right? And so just this like really slick sniper rifle isn't gonna do the job. It's gonna break the shield. It's gonna come back up in zero point 0.6 picoseconds or some really tiny amount of time. And so they've assembled a ship weapon in a tower somewhere to just shoot where the sniper shoots and
Yeah,
blast this guy's head off with a laser at the same time as the rifle.
which is super amazing.
Which is a really good plan for killing a Primarch, I think. Like, you have to go for overkill here. You have
Yeah,
to.
and apparently you have to go for the head because the only time we've seen a Primarch killed is through decapitation at this point.
That's true.
So hey, good plan. Not that
Yeah.
they know this.
Not today, no.
Like, not that our Ocean's 11 were there, but
Right.
yeah. So anyway, the assumed Horus's head explodes. Bam. Space Marine Primarch dead. And then it's not. It's a little bit of Alpha Legion trickery here, where someone is pretending to be the Primarch and they're not actually the Primarch.
Yeah, so this is Luke Ceterae, who we actually met in the Galaxy in Flames and stuff like that with the when we were hanging out with the Sons of Horus. So it's not a nobody character, but it's not one of the bigger characters. But I think he was one of the people who was like iffy on the War Master, but eventually decided to stay with him in spite of like Logan and Tolgaden's pleas, basically, or like. There's a lot of. I think he was like present in like the lodge visits to like, should we take Horus to the Serpent, Davin, like the temple, and
Right.
like Ceterae is one of the captains there who's like, no, we have a chance to heal Horus, but like doesn't feel great about it, and he's like, look, I'll do it if everyone thinks it's a great idea, but it feels like not only has Horus managed to avoid an assassination attempt, but also free himself of a captain who was maybe not the greatest for him, you know?
Who wasn't entirely loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But I mean,
So that's a huge question of the book. Is like, how the hell did Horus catch wind of this?
and
Because that's the assumption. There's no way he randomly decided to send his most critical, outspoken critic down there that day. And wonder of wonder, coincidence of coincidences, there was an assassin. And hey,
So-
he's gone. That's insane.
so yeah, that is a kind of a question, but
Yeah.
that also Horus has like been like he's probably aware that there's been assassination attempts on him before. Like Horus has superhuman hearing. When Erebus caught the poisoner dude just outside his tent, he probably heard that going down, right? Like there's no way in the world he didn't hear them talk to this guy about like what he was doing and then feed him his own poison and watch all the moisture evaporate from his body in a super graphic scene.
Well, and they have an argument. Erebus and what's his face? They're like, should we tell Horus? And one guy's like, no. And the other one's like, yes. And it's like, but there's a tent between you and this conversation.
Right. So,
Yeah.
on the one hand, nobody explicitly tells Horus that there's an attempt on his life happening. But at the same time, Horus isn't an idiot. And so it's entirely possible. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to send proxies down to public meetings, on potentially unfamiliar planets as just a measure of caution,
Right. And I guess thinking about it now, too, like the fact that this planet, as far as they know, was effectively, the war was over. And then magically, suddenly, there's this utter reversal from 99% done to like, we're on our way back.
Right.
That probably raised some flags with him. He's like, okay, what?
Yeah.
What is going on down there exactly, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so, yes.
I'd like that to be involved in the book because there's even a scene where Erebus is like, what? And Horus is like, I'm not telling.
Right, well, that's the thing. The warp is also whispering into Horus's ear now, not just Erebus.
Not just Erebus.
It could just be the warp told him,
I guess. But Erebus has no idea. That's the thing. It freaks Erebus out a little bit. This idea that Horus is getting information from somewhere else. Whether it's the warp, whether Horus has spies within the inner heart of the Imperium that Erebus doesn't even know about.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, probably,
Yeah. I'm just saying I would just prefer it if... But, I don't know, it's also... it's tough. Because it is good writing to be like, nobody knows but Horus...
Right. You need to
But
have
part of me
somebody
would
to do
also
that.
like to know if there was
Yeah.
somebody, if there was a spy, or if he just looked at the reversal of the war and said, right?
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
me.
It would be nice
Wanting,
to know. It'd be nice to know.
wanting closure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Horus is like, they tried to kill me. And the whole planet dies. We already talked about this. The Astartes and
Yeah.
the sons of Horus murder it.
Which is one of the the moral conflicts that you end up with between Kel and his sister Salam, which is they're very aware, like the assassins are aware that if they incite more resistance, while their lives under Horus, if they were just to bend the knee, wouldn't be great, they would still have lives, and potentially like a retribution fleet after the Horus Heresy could be sent out to reclaim the planet. But now, by stoking resistance, by making Horus coming here and trying to assassinate him, they're put like the Imperium put these people to death in attempts to into killing Horus, and like the Imperium knows this because Dawn is in there interrupting board meetings with the Council of Assassins or whatever, being like the narrow view, you know.
Right.
Which
Right.
always a big fan of an angry Primarch, you know. Personally, when he's yelling at people, so that was a great scene. I really liked that.
Dorn's always grumpy. Like every time I've
Sure.
read Dorn, he's always mad about something.
I mean, he's the guy in charge of fixing the Imperial Palace and coming for the siege. He's got a good reason to be grumpy, you know.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah. So and that's something towards the end of the book where Dorn's like, "You idiots. Like if the planet had just fallen normally, then there'd be less the fact that it was that was made an example to the other planets in the system and the
right,
area makes it more likely that people will just immediately fall to Horus
right.
rather than
Everyone
any kind
else,
of resistance being made."
right.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the system is now going to bend the knee because they've got an example of what happens if they don't.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's the result. But the
yeah.
other result is the whole thing with Spear, which our Ocean's 11 crew accidentally,
Stumble on.
entirely coincidentally and accidentally stumbles upon. They're not looking.
Well, okay, you just cut out entirely there.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying they didn't like the Ocean's 11 group didn't know that Spear existed, and Spear did not know that this group existed.
Right. Well, that's the interesting thing because, I mean, I feel like I used the phrase "that's the interesting thing," but there's lots of interesting things about Warhammer, which is Salam is secretly a member of the church. Like she's big ups on the whole God Emperor thing, right? And she feels that it has been a holy mission that brought her here, and like her real mission is to defend a bit of the Emperor's blood, which Spear needs for like a genetic lock on the Emperor, because the we should say the assassination plan for Erebus was to get Spear to eat some of the Emperor's blood and then have a genetic lock and reflect the Emperor's own staggering psychic ability back at him,
Right.
which yeah, that I feel like that's something that could kill the Emperor, or at least hurt him. The, I'm gonna assume you haven't seen the show Seven Deadly Sins, like the anime on Netflix.
No.
Okay,
No.
so basically, there's like it's like a fantasy world where there's like demons that are like trying to kill people, and there's a group called the Seven Deadly Sins, and like they're led by a demon, but he's actually a good guy. He's like on the outs, and they're basically kind of like holy warriors. But anyway, there's one of the Seven Deadly Sins is the lion Escanor, who ends up in a fight with someone who can reflect physical damage back at the attacker, and he's like staggeringly overpowered this Escanor dude, and he like
Right.
attacks the other guy, gets it reflected, and he's like, "Oh, I guess I am quite strong," as he's like cutting into his own shoulder with the power of his own attacks. And I feel like the Emperor's kind of like that, where he's just like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, maybe I could hurt myself, but you know what? I'm still me. I'm still really stupidly powerful."
Right. And I found a Reddit thread talking about this because I just wanted to get some like background on the whole idea. A lot of people are like, sure, psychic attacks on Spear get reflected, but if you smash him to bits with your physical power, he can't do anything about that.
Right.
And the Emperor is stupidly physically strong too, so like, good luck, man.
Also true, yes.
Yeah.
But it's unclear that if he needs to get within physical range to do it, right? Like he's talking about getting closer, but does he have to be physically present?
I mean, it sounds like he can't do it from across the galaxy.
Right. But he
He
also
wants the
he didn't have to be in the room with the regular Psycho to kill her.
right, right.
So
So I don't know. I mean, he makes it sound like it's not that hard to get, basically to Terra.
mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Who is it at the end? Somebody's like, there's no way he would get within a bajillion miles of the Emperor.
Right.
Like, we'd find him, we'd shut him down before he got even close to.
Right. Which I mean
But they don't know that.
They don't know that. I think it's a good segue into a failing the book has, which is just some inconsistencies with the world. Mainly because the Emperor at this point is sitting on the Golden Throne holding back Magnus's folly, you know?
Right.
So there's no way Spear was going to get into the palace, let alone the throne room. And
Yeah.
at the end there, the meeting that Dawn breaks up with all the assassins is like, everyone demask. They'll put a face to your words and your deeds. The Emperor shows up there and he's like walking around and being like, chill, guys. Which,
Oh,
like,
well, and then he just basically says, we're not doing stuff in hiding anymore.
right. Which is fair. Like, it's a perfectly fine scene, but like the Emperor shouldn't be like getting off his throne at this point. He's
Okay.
he's not physically wounded. He can physically get up and do it, but he's needed there, right? Like he's needed to be on it to hold back.
Can he psychically project an image of himself that could do the same thing?
Sure, probably.
Okay,
But
so that's what it is.
sure, probably. But he also touches Dawn and the other people. Like the book explicitly mentions that he physically interacts with these people.
It's the Emperor. He can make them think there was weight to that touch, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, fine.
That's the problem. That's the problem with writing the Emperor.
Right. That's why you don't make him a character a lot of the times. But also, I'm just annoyed that when like he's in that room, they're talking about the Himalayan sun because like the Imperial Palace is in the Himalayas, right? That makes sense. But it's like, oh, this super secret room where no one on the plans knows where it exists, and it's shielded with all of these fancy locks and psychic shielding, and it's a second out of time with reality, or at least so the rumors say. Has a window? It like this.
A bunch of windows. He's pulling curtains down.
How does nobody know where that room is if it's got windows on three sides of it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
And it's another. This is like a nitpick level stuff, but like James Swallow mentions that when Constantine Valdor and Tariel go to get the sniper Kel, that like they're on an air shuttle or whatever, but they're not flying in the Ministorum prescribed flight zones or whatever, flight lanes.
They're on sneaky paths, yeah.
Right, but the Ministorum is the church, and the church doesn't exist yet.
Oh, continuity error. Bummer.
Right. Same with the Emperor getting up and walking around. It's a continuity error.
The Emperor, again, anything with the Emperor can be explained with anything.
Yeah, sure.
The church thing, I'm with you on.
But here's the problem. There's a lot of times where the Emperor needs to get up and do something or project himself somewhere to give his opinion on a lot of specific things and just doesn't. So if that's a thing the Emperor can do, he should have been doing it a ton, right?
Yeah, nope, good point. Good point. That's funny.
So, just a couple of continuity errors, but otherwise really good, I think.
Yeah. And the other argument is that our Ocean's 11 group took out Spear. Mm-hmm. And if they can do it, then whatever forces are arrayed between him and the Emperor can probably take out Spear.
Right. But it's still probably for the best that they took out Spear not on Terra, because, like, it's psychic warp fuckery. You don't want to, like, what if he could just detonate the etherical equivalent of several dozen nukes just like off somewhere in the solar system. It's probably still not good that it gets closer than it does. So you end up in a kind of spot where like the idea of the execution force is validated, but not for the reasons they thought. Oh,
Right.
there is another continuity error that really pissed me off, which
Okay.
is everyone is sitting around being like, so the mission failed. We didn't kill Horus. We killed Luke Cetera instead. And then Dawn walks in and is like, bitches, I found your secret ship. It was pretending to be a traitor. Here's the recording from Kel, who's like, I failed. It's like, how did they know that before Dawn came in with the recording? you know?
They didn't check in. They're like, I haven't checked in for 3 days. They're probably all dead.
Right, but they knew that they killed Luke Cetera instead.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know.
They had mission details that Dawn gives them after they've talked about it,
Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point.
But that said, I do really like that Kel was like, well, I still have my mission at the end. What do I have to try and kill Horus? Well, I've got my ship. I can see the command bridge.
That was the dumbest thing. Like, dude. No.
You think escaping to make a full report in person is better?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. You're still an incredibly skilled assassin for the Empire. Like, get out there, live to fight another day. Like, what is this
Right.
worthless gesture at the end of your life? Come on, man.
And it's kind of fun to be like, all right, I guess we'll just try ramming the ship.
Yeah.
It's fun, if nothing else. I think so, at least. It is definitely a worthless gesture because we know it doesn't work. But,
Yeah.
It's
And there's
fun.
no way it was going to work. Horus was not going to die because a ship crashed into his flagship and killed him. I'm sorry. There's no way. It's ridiculous.
It's fair.
Very funny, though.
It's fair.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch in the book about the religion, the God Emperor stuff.
That the Void Baron, this rogue trader, has been secretly, like, their family's been secretly sharing the word of the God Emperor for, like,
Yeah.
hundreds of years at this point.
But, like, performatively for the Baron. Like, he doesn't
Well,
really believe it.
for him specifically, but it's possible that his forebears really were true believers.
Certainly. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If he still has, like, responsibilities to, like, perform as this, like, true believer, because like like the people who he's been, like, trading with seem to be very powerful, and he has debt, so he's, like, trading his warrant of trade with the Emperor's blood as, like, a holy text for pilgrimage in exchange for debt relief, which there are little things with the Void Baron that I think are really, really great touches, mainly with that Psyker he employs, whose name isn't on my Wikipedia, so I don't remember what her name is.
Oh, but she's in here.
Yeah, you look that up for me.
Perig.
Perig, yeah.
Indentured Psyker.
Indentured Psyker, who wears an iron collar inscribed with runes on it, but in a text that you highlighted, it was not a nullifier. It could not hold it back. It was there so those who feared her ability could still have her at their side and still sleep soundly.
So good.
So good. And it's later revealed when the Void Baron's talking to Spear, but he doesn't know it's Spear, that, like, to get Imperial sanction to have a Psyker, to get exemptions from what's the Council of Nicaea, he traded a moon to the Administratum.
Yeah. Steep price.
Steep price. Just nice little touch. Nice little touch.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Certainly. A lot of fun stuff. What else? The Guarantine has a goal to kill a space marine, and he does.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
That's what he wants.
Yep.
If want is the right word.
Yeah, close enough.
the Venenum convinces her brother, what was her name? Solam convinces her brother to be, I guess, religious, which
Right.
neat.
Yeah,
What a
like
win.
she's a God Emperor believer, and she runs into a bunch of fellow believers on the planet that's doomed.
Right, but
And
Iota catches them. That's right. They're like, oh, I've found that gathering down there, and she kind of doesn't get what it's about. Like, it feels
yeah,
like her lack of understanding of relationships is also like she doesn't understand the concept of a deity or what these people are doing or whether or not it's outlawed or not. You know?
right. Yeah, I mean she was grown in a vat to be an assassin. There's
Yeah.
not a whole lot of context going on for her. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, I think that's
So
kind
yeah,
of it.
definitely really well written book, good characters, really fun stuff. Again, a bit weird that we know that the main motivations of our characters are all going to fail, but hey, it's
Hey,
Warhammer. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of failing going on.
yeah. It's still fun. Some books just need to be fun, and despite all of the brutal murders and getting eaten and being like dumped into wine casks to age for ages and poison probably loads of people down the line. You know what? It's a fun book.
Yeah,
It's monstrously depressing, but a fun book.
it is. It's par for the course in the
Yes.
Warhammers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with the question of what's next.
What is next?
Um, so I think there's a couple of short stories I want to read. I want you to read. So see if you can get the two anthology books, Tales of Heresy and Age of Darkness. See if you can get those.
Okay.
And you can read all of them, but there's three that I think I want to pick at specifically.
Okay. Tales of Heresy.
Yep.
That one's available.
Cool. And what about Age of Darkness? Can you get them both?
Let me see. Just checked out Tales of Heresy and Age of Darkness. There's a bunch of them. Is it The Age of Darkness or Age of Darkness?
Age of Darkness anthology? I don't know. Doesn't say The Age. Does it might say Age of Darkness edited by Christian Dunn.
Okay. I don't think I've got that one.
Can you see if you've just got the short story Liars Do by James Swallow? Otherwise, it might have to just be a book you buy. But I'll understand if you don't want to.
Liars Do. D-U-E?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. Probably have to Amazon those.
Okay. Okay. So from Age of Darkness, the one I really like is Lies Do. It's also by James Swallow. It's another look at civilian life in the Heresy. Yeah, it's really good. I think it's the best out of that selection, but you totally can read the others if you want.
Gotcha.
Nothing wrong with them.
Yeah. Yeah, Amazon's got it for like $3.
Cool.
Liars Do.
Yep. And then from Tales of Heresy, the two I want to read are Blood Games and The Last Church.
Okay. I might have probably just read the whole thing.
Oh yeah, go for it. Absolutely. But I think those two are the standouts. So
All right.
also, especially since like a lot of these other ones will be jumping around into places you've not been and armies you've not seen. So some of them might be like without context, but like they'll give you what you need. I feel like that's accurate.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, I think that's a podcast for today then.
Faux show.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for talking about the nerdy stuff. It was a good time.
Good times.
And this has been another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, broadcast live on twitch.tv/Somicron. You can find us there, also on What's Up Bovine, youtube.com/@Somicron. VODs are there as well. Supporting the podcast can be done at falconpaladin.store and patreon.com/Somicron. So I mean, feel free to read along with us if you want to read a Horus Heresy book or two and see what's going on in the lives of Falcon and Somicron and follow along with the next podcast. But you can also just show up and listen to us ramble about stuff too. That's fine too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be it from us. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. And above all, take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.